Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. I thought I'd do a very quick video. I picked these up from Warhammer World at the weekend. I thought I would do a very quick show and a little bit of an investigation as well, because these are clear plastic models. Now, back when I used to do model aeroplanes, I used to have some clear plastic glue, which was really good for like gluing on the canopies and things for aeroplanes, but I don't have that anymore. It kind of just dried up, and it was years, and it was like 20 years ago, so a long time ago. There is no face camera today. I am feeling absolutely terrible, so I'm not looking great, so I thought I would just kind of croak down at the microphone for you instead. But here are the clear plastic sprues for the King of the Dead and his two heralds. It's a special edition. You can get these until January the 6th, I think, on made to order. I'm going to pick up a couple of the boxes of warriors as well, so I can have like a little bit of a Warriors of the Dead army. This is mainly for my Rangers army, so I've got Rangers of the North. So here is Mr. Aragorn, so he's just going to have some allies. He can have the King of the Dead as an ally. So what we're going to do, what the plan is I'm going to try a few different types of glue for you all, so that we can kind of guess and work out the best glue that we can use. Now, I do have a few little bits of glue. I've got my stereotypical glue that I use a lot, which is Mech Pack, which you can get down in the description, and I've also got some of the Revel, which I think everybody seems to have at least a little bit of. And then we're also going to use a little bit of PVA glue as well. So I've got some PVA slash wood glue here as well. So I'm going to try that, because this dries clear as well. So we're going to try a little bit of that. Now, I did convert my King of the Dead. So here is the one that I did just before he came back out, just before these ones were released. So I'm also going to see if I can convert this and just kind of repose his arm a little bit like that. Now the plan is I'm going to use some UV resin. So once I've cut his arm off, I'm going to put some UV resin in there and just see if I can get it so that it's clear as well. But also, like, once you're painting up, the vast majority of the model which is going to be clear is going to be the bottom half, and then you're going to kind of slowly paint slash like dry brush, if you like, some of the top half to give it a little bit of colour and texture. So this top half of the shoulder here, where I had to sculpt in a little bit of chainmail, hopefully that shouldn't make much of a difference, and we can kind of get that away. So what I'm going to do, there's a few things that I want to look at. The first is how easily and cleanly it cleans up. So my plan for that, I'm going to clip these out and then get a nice brand new knife blade and just see if when we're kind of slicing it, if it keeps its nice clean polished look. And then we're going to clip off some of the extra bits of sprue and see if we can glue those together before we actually glue the real model. So we've got our clippers out here. We're going to start with the Herald, because the Herald is probably the least important one. So we're going to take this one out here. We're going to clip out these bits. Now I want to leave a little bit, let's just zoom in fully all the way. I want to leave, there we go. I want to leave a little bit here just so that I can kind of clean it up. So I don't want to clip right up next to it. I'm going to clip a little bit away like that. Then that should leave me a little bit there to kind of slice off with the knife afterwards. We'll do the same here, clip that bit off there, and then up at the top here, again just away from the model, and clip that off there. So these clippers, obviously they kind of snap slash tear the part, so there should be a little bit of stress, and it'll probably look a bit white. As you can see there, that's a perfect example. That one looks very white there. So what we're going to try and do now is then clip that off, and then what we're going to do as well is I'm just going to clip out a bit of this sprue here like that, and then we can cut that in half. In fact, let's cut it into thirds like that. and then we can try gluing these together with the different glue and see if it kind of maintains its clarity and stuff. So that's the plan. So let's get the knives out, and we'll come back and we'll clean these up and then glue those together and see how they look. Back in a sec. Okay, so we've got my knife here. We're going to swap out for a brand new blade, and then we're going to trim some of these parts off and see if we can keep it nice and clean. So brand new blade going in. There we go. And then what we want to do is just have a look at this. So this was the really white one here, so we're going to use this one as an example or a test. And we're just going to tidy it up right up against, there we go. So we can just about, I think it might need a little bit of polish. I think you could probably get a bit of polish on this. And just some very fine sandpaper, and it will, let's get some sandpaper. So I've got, this is 2400 grit. And we're just going to polish that a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So that's got all the white marks off that. So it's now nice and clean. So that's how we can clean this up. So this is 2400 grit. You can get these, again, these are linked in my description. If you want to get these, you can get these off Amazon. They're quite straightforward. And then the next bit that we need to do is we're going to have a look at gluing these together. Now I'm going to use my mech pack to start with. So this is the glue that I use for absolutely everything else. So this is the one that I really want to work, because then this would be great. So we're going to use this one. We're going to put these two. Actually, let's try. So we'll put a little bit on there like that. We'll glue this one. Oh, I can't even pick it up. Ah! There we go. So we're going to glue that one onto there like that, and then just run a little bit of extra, there we go, and then that should, I mean, that's already looking clear, so that already looks clear. So hopefully what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these for a few hours just to see if it kind of does anything different or changes it or makes it go yellow or anything like that. So that's the first one. And then the other one that we want to try, I do want to try some of this. So this is probably, however, clogged up. So we'll just get this one out and see if it will come out of the tube itself. There we go. And then drop that on there like that. So that's the Revel contactor as well. Made an absolute mess of that, but that is also looking clear right now. So we'll leave. God, it smells so bad. Whew. Put that lid back on. So that's the Revel one. So the Revel one is the one with the little tab, the square tab, and then the mech pack is the one with a little pip on it as well. So we're going to leave those to one side. Just put those on the. I'm just going to pop those on the box there, and then the last one we need to cut out another bit of sprue, and we want to use some, there we go. The last bit is we want to use some wood glue or some PVA glue. So this is PVA glue. This is the PVA glue that I use for basing, so it's watered down a little bit. And I have a little brush here, so we'll do the same again. Get a little bit of the sprue, add some PVA glue to that, like that, and then stick this together like that. So the interesting thing will be on whether this, I don't think this is actually going to stick. I've got a funny feeling that this is just going to snap off afterwards, because it's going to create a sticky join between the two, but it's not actually going to join the two together particularly. It's going to be yeah, it's just going to be like a sticky join rather than a proper join, so I don't think this is going to work. We are going to leave that to one side over there, same thing, and then we'll come back in a little while and we'll check all of these and see how they have held up. And until then, I will probably kind of just finish off clipping all of these off. Now, as always in my little kit review videos, we're going to have a look on here and just make sure that we're clipping these things out in the right order. So for instance, this one here, I would always clip this bit before I clip that bit, because clipping this bit, this is quite a large gate, and if I clip that bit there, it's going to put some pressure, and this is where you really don't want to like put any pressure on these, because it's going to make the it's going to put stress on the plastic, and because the plastic is clear, it's got some slightly different, you can tell that when you're clipping it off as well, it's got slightly different properties to like normal grey plastic, so it's much more brittle, it will snap a little bit easier, and things like that. So be very, very careful when you are clipping these out. Let's just zoom back out again so we can get a little bit of a, there we go. So you want to be very, very careful when you're clipping these out. So I'm going to clip this one out here first, and then clip this one here, so you can see how much these move when they're being clipped. There we go. And that snap is just, it's just because this plastic is very much, it hasn't got the elasticity of the grey plastic. So there we go. So that's one there. In fact, I need to kind of pay attention to what these numbers are as well, not clipping out the incorrect ones. So we're going to carry on with this. I'm actually going to clip out everything that we need for the King of the Dead, and we're going to kind of assemble him, put him all together, and we'll see how we can do with the little repose like this, because I just think that looks better. So I'm just going to do this. So I will clip all these out, and then we'll come back and we'll have a look at all the glued together bits and see how they're going. Okay, so we've left these, well, I've left these, I've left these overnight. We have, this is the one from the Revel Contactor, so that stereotypical one that everybody has. This is my favourite mech pack one, and then this is the just PVA glue / wood glue, whatever you would like. So we've got some interesting little kind of conclusions from this. I was hoping that like my mech pack would be absolutely fine. However, the more it dried and the longer it kind of lasted, you can see it does go a little bit cloudy at the join. So it's clear, it doesn't kind of damage the plastic all that much, but obviously at the join it has gone cloudy, so it's lost its clarity there. So if we were going to glue these together, let me just get this part here. If we were going to glue these together, then it would kind of cloud up here. Now there is a pro and con for this. So these fit together, they've got a really good kind of registration to them anyway. So what you could do, because I'm trying to or I'm thinking about going forwards and painting a little bit of this, so at least it's got a bit of colour up here. So what you could do is glue the top bit up here, run some glue around the top section, glue that in, and then when it does go kind of a little bit cloudy, when it does go a little bit cloudy like that, then you wouldn't notice because you'll have some paint on it. And then don't bother painting it, don't bother gluing like the lower section or something like that. So you can be a little bit selective, I would imagine. Now the Contactor one has also gone a tiny bit cloudy as well. It's not quite as bad, which is quite interesting. Ignore this bit here, this is where I spilt some on it. Yeah, this look at like this side here, the kind of clear bit on this side. So it's gone a little bit cloudy. It's definitely gone cloudy on the join, but maybe not as bad as the mech pack. So the mech pack stuff that I use, this stuff, it's similar to like the Tamiya. It's a little bit stronger than the Tamiya stuff, but if you use like the Tamiya clear, then I would imagine it will be a similar kind of thing. Now the PVA glue, interestingly, I didn't think this one was going to work because I didn't think it would I didn't think it would hold. I thought it would be a little bit brittle. Now I haven't put too much pressure on this to see how easily it would break, but obviously if we're just using models like this, you're not going to be sitting here and like ripping the models apart or trying to rip the models apart when you're playing with them, so it should be fine. So this one, actually the PVA glue is actually the best one, because as you can see, as I turn it, it is pretty clear. It's still kind of maintained its clarity and it's clear. So the PVA glue / wood glue, this is just like Evo stick wood glue with a little bit of water in it that I use for basing. So if I was going to do it, then I might get a little bit out, stick it in like a little tray, just get it some straight out of the pot, and maybe use it with a tiny bit of water in it. This is about 50-50, so I could probably go about 75% wood glue and then 25% water, and that will probably work fine. Now I do want to just put a little bit of pressure on it and see how tight it is. Oh, there we go. So yeah, it does snap quite easily. So there was a little bit of pressure there, but it's going to hold it. Like, that's not going to, yeah, it's not going to be that much of an issue, I don't think. So what I'm tempted to do is glue with like my mech pack, my kind of liquid glue with my liquid glue up at the top, and then maybe down at the bottom just add a little bit of kind of wood glue just to kind of hold it if I want to. That's probably the best thing to do. Now, one of the other characteristics of this plastic, so the grey plastic that Games Workshop usually use has got, if we just have a look here, this is just a random bit of sprue that I've got. You do have quite a bit of flex in the grey plastic, and you can see it stressing here. So it does have some elasticity to it. Now, one of the things that happens when Games Workshop do add things like, here we go, things like dye to the plastic, it does make it a little bit more brittle. So this one's not too bad, but you can see this kind of the stress goes. So it changes when they do add dye. It changes the characteristics of the plastic a little bit. The lighter dyes tend to make it a little bit more kind of stretchy, and you can obviously here you can see how much stretchy that is. You can kind of bend it all the way around. The darker the dyes that they put in, it kind of makes it a little bit more kind of brittle. However, when they've this plastic, this clear plastic that they've got, it is incredibly well, it's not incredibly brittle. It's like it's when you're cutting it, you've got more of a chance of parts like snapping off than cutting. So what I've got here, I was trying to cut this arm off so that I can do my nice little conversion, which I'm not too worried about, because like I say, I'm going to kind of paint this top half, so it'll have a little bit of colour on it, so I can disguise some of the converting which I'm going to do. Now, as I was cutting it, there was a tiny little bit of hair kind of going across here. So as I was cutting it, that just flicked off. It just flew off as if it was like snapped. But I really don't want to kind of put any more pressure on this to cut it. So what I've had to do is I've gone and got one of my little razor saws. This is a very, very old one. I'm very, very sorry, which is why it's all kind of knackered and bent. But you can just use the end bit here. So what I'm doing is I'm just holding this here. I'm going to do it on the desk. But I'm just holding it here, and I'm actually using the razor saw to cut it, and I think that's going to be a lot better. So you're actually removing material rather than trying to cut through material. So if you are trying to convert these, I would recommend getting some of these little razor saws. You can get them on Amazon. I'll stick a link in the description. You can get these on Amazon. They're just like little, they're really flexible, and then you just need a like an X-Acto blade handle, sorry, and they just slide in. So they are very, very cool. I've got loads of these. I do need to get another one, but I've got lots of model kit boxes in front of my drawers at the moment, so I can't get to the saws. So what you can do is you can just sit that on the table here like that. Let's just get that in focus for you so you can see a bit better. In fact, let's do a big zoom in. There we go. So what you can do is you can sit here and you can just stick it in the, there we go, stick it in the slot, and then you can just very, very gently. Don't press too hard. If you press too hard, that's when you get these kind of kinks in the blade, so you can just very easily just keep removing little bits of plastic as you go back and forth, and then that should go all the way through. Now this is going to be the safest way to cut this kind of clear plastic. It's going to take a while because this plastic is incredibly hard. It's a very hard plastic, and I think the hardness of it kind of impacts and increases the kind of brittleness of it as well. But as you can see, you can just kind of keep going at it. We're probably halfway through now, so I'm going to remove the rest of it, and then I will glue that bit onto the other arm, to the bottom of the arm, and then we'll just kind of pose him up like that. And I'm going to use some UV resin just to kind of glue it in as well and see how that works. So I'll come back in a second once I've done that, and then we will kind of confirm how we're going to glue this together, what glue we're going to use, and whether we are going to use some mech pack and some PVA/wood glue, and yeah, there we go. So this is just the last little bit. I'm going to cut this off here, and then we'll have a look at the cut. There we go. So the cut's pretty clean. One of the hardest things actually with these models is actually seeing what you're doing. Like, I have no idea now how that really fits in, because I've got no sense of up or down or anything with where the parts actually are. Like, I was looking at it earlier. I was like, well, I made this cut here last time, and I was trying to find the cut, and I was like, I don't know where it is, because it's all clear, you can't really see anything. It's really odd, it's really off-putting. Anyway, so that is the cut. I've made that cut. We're going to put those together just so that I can kind of see what's happening now. Again, I apologise for my slightly croaky voice. I'm not feeling particularly well at the moment. There we go, so that's that there. So what we can do is that fits in. We're going to lower this down rather than it being pointing up. This is what I did last time. Rather than it being pointing up, I'm just going to kind of point it down, and we'll get it fitted into there, and see how we go. But yeah, the cut is actually pretty clean. I was expecting it to be a little slightly more scuffed than that. Now what you can do is, like when we were cleaning up the parts, we can grab our little bit of sandpaper or emery square, and we can polish it a little bit, and that should remove a little bit of the scuff marks on it. Not that we're particularly worried about the scuff marks, I'm just doing it for the sake of the video, just so that you can see a little bit more. So it does remove some more of the scuff marks, but like I say, like the top half of this, we're going to add a little bit of like dry brushing or highlights too, just to get a little bit of colour. But there we go. So we're going to come back in a second. I'm going to glue one together, and then we're going to talk about which glue I have used and why. Okay, back in a sec. Okay, hello everybody. I'm actually back. I'm feeling, well, I'm not feeling that much better, but I have had a haircut, so I look better. So I feel better in myself anyway. Right, so I have, this is literally the next day. So I thought I'd leave everything a day. This one is still kind of, I don't want to take that one off. I probably could do, but so what I've done is the top half. So from, you can actually see it quite well on here. From the waist up, I've used mech pack, so just like my liquid glue. And then from the waist down, I've used PVA, or just basic wood glue. It's Bostik wood glue. And then the same with these ones as well. Just see if we can pick this one up. There we go. So top up, I've used mech pack, and then the bottom down, can't see it as much on that one actually. I don't know whether that's because this one is just a little bit thinner. This one feels like a little bit thinner, and then there's also all this here, because I've sanded this down and kind of cleaned it all up. It has taken quite a bit of the glue and just kind of frosted it a little bit. But like I say, like this bit, I'm not too worried about the waist up. I really wanted to keep the waist down bit nice and clear and clean, so that's why I used the wood glue on all of those.
And then the waist up is going to get like a little bit of a dry brush or some paint going on it, just to give it a hint of some red or some blues or some whites, greens, etc., and things like that, just to give it some interest, and also to show some detail, because as you can see, once you get kind of completely clear models, you can't actually see any of the details. The details all kind of fade in to themselves. So that's what I'm looking at doing now. I might do a painting video on these. I can't imagine it would be very long if I did, but I've said that before, and it ended up being like an hour long, which I then got to edit down. But yeah, maybe let me know down in the comments if you want to see me like how I would kind of go around painting this. Now the last bit on this here is I've got just this little hole here, which I'm going to fill with some UVA resin. I'm just going to squeeze some UVA resin in there and then just cure it with a UV light. I haven't done that yet. I will do, but that's not really going to change anything at all, because UV resin will just it will just cure clear, so you won't see that. It will just be a nice smooth fill-in up there. But yeah, that's it. They're really nice. I'm actually quite excited to see how they kind of go together. This is the base for the one which I've already done. This guy, he was only kind of tacked onto the base for a game a few weeks ago, and now he's been replaced by the cool funky new one. So yeah, bit of a waste painting this one, or converting this one, but at least it was a bit of a practice to see how it was done. But yeah, there we go. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you get this kit. I will pick up I'm going to pick up 2 boxes of the Warrior kits as well, just so that like it's one of those fear of missing out things, isn't it? Like, I don't want to not have the models when I want them. If at some point in the future I go, oh, I really fancy a King of the Dead army. So and then if they do the banner bearer and the horseman as well, like if they do those in the future and they release those, I'll be like, well, I really should have bought the warriors, because then I would have a complete army. But yeah, there we go. Really nice. I do like them. I think they're going to look great on these little bases as well, to match the rest of my, where are they? The rest of my grey company. And yeah, they'll be rather nice. I'm looking forward to these. So thank you very much, everybody. As always, please drop me a follow. I'm trying to get to that 1 million subscribers. First Warhammer streamer, YouTuber to get to 1 million subscribers. It will happen at some point. And you can find me on Twitch pretty much most days of the week. That's twitch.tv/Chris Frostin. I won't have a croaky voice because my cold will have gone by then. And you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram's a big one. If you follow me on Instagram, that'd be cool, because then I can, like, that's where I share out all my news and what I'm working on and stuff. So instagram.com/Chris Frostin as well on there. So thank you very much, everybody. And as always, I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.